Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. I've got a great show for you today, and it's something that happens to me all the time, so I wanted to share it with you. I'm calling it, You Can Dwell on It for the Rest of Your Life. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break. I have to say, one of the great joys I had for doing a radio show for so many years was all the nice people who would call or email me and tell me how a certain show was meaningful to them. From how much they liked a certain guest to some asking questions about who to turn to for help. Since I'm not a licensed counselor or an HR person, I just like to suggest some good people I know who may be able to help those who reach out to me seeking answers. I can't help everyone, but I will certainly try to send them to those who might be able to help. Occasionally I get a call from someone who, just by listening every week to my dose of encouragement on the radio show, has a dormant spark of a long-lost passion to flicker alive. And when that spark catches on and begins to create a little light, that's what pushes a few good folks to ask how to get started or restart on something they had always wanted to do but pushed aside for whatever reason. Have to say, a few weeks ago, I met someone who said they always felt like they wanted to speak at a conference because they'd gone through a lot in their life and they just wanted to let others know how they got through it. They wanted to be an encouragement to others. I have to say, I get that a lot. The problem with that request is it's hard to find your tribe, those who will let you speak from a platform and then pay you for the information. Now, I'm not trying to be discouraging, but realize that most of us in the speaking circuit have been there for years, speaking on topics that we're experts on. And that's how many of us make a livelihood in this very, very competitive business. Yes, some can do well for a time when they're topic, and topics come and interests come and go. Currently, there's a number of fine folks talking about storytelling. But in time, I can tell you, that will most likely dwindle down to a handful of speakers who can sustain that business. Again, please know if that is what you have a passion for and you can craft a message that can change lives, friend, you might be onto something. And I encourage you to find those who are like-minded to your topic and see if they would be willing to have you speak to their group. Probably the number one request I get from folks who call me is a desire to speak to the faith community. Because frankly, for so many, they say, well, it seems pretty easy because most Sunday sermons are 3 points in a poem, and they know the text, the congregation, the words to all the songs. And since we're taught to judge not, many think it's a great way to get started. So I had a call this week from a very nice person. She'd been listening for over a year and finally got the courage to call me and ask how to get started speaking. When I answered the phone, she introduced herself and told me that she wanted to speak at women's conferences. And then she began to tell me all the reasons why she has not been able to pursue her dream of speaking. She's married with kids in school and a husband who's ill, but is doing odd jobs to keep the family stable. She has to work, but doesn't like her job. She can't quit because she needs the money. She went on to tell me that she's not a good writer. She didn't finish school. So she feels bad about that and doesn't feel good about her command of the English language. Have to say, it was then I had to stop her. Frankly, Deb could not listen anymore. And I have to admit, it's probably one of my quirks. I have a very low tolerance for people who want to dwell on all the reasons why they can't follow their dreams, live their passion, or do what they feel they were born to do. Instead of discussing all the reasons she gave me about her life being out of balance, I asked her to give me a few topics on which she would like to speak. I got the usual marriage, mortgage, munchkins. Let me tell you how I have a great marriage, how to make your finances work, how to love your kids. Well, that's a typical start, so I ask again. Can you think about a few topics on which you would really like to speak on and that people need to hear? Once again, she started in with how bad her life is, her husband, her kids, her in-laws, her outlaws, and I had to stop her again. And I gave her a quote that I had seen, and it's this. You can dwell on it for the rest of your life. That's death. Or you can let it go and move on. That's life. You see, I wanted her to let go of all her excuses and move forward with her dreams and desires to see life, the life she wants to see and be and have. I want her to move forward to pursue her dream of being a speaker in the faith community at conferences all over America. But she wanted to dwell on all the reasons why it wouldn't work. And I feel sure that within an hour of excuse making, she refused to make any small changes to clean up her life, and I'm guessing her house, her yard, her garage, her closet, her car, her kitchen. Oh, trust me, I've seen it all. Because talking about it is so much easier than doing the work. I see it every day. And I have to say, I'm not trying to be unkind, although I know it sounds that way in hindsight. I admit there was a part of me that was heartbroken. That talking was all it seemed she was willing to do. But I decided to offer her a way out. So here's what I did. I said, hey, listen, how about you write a paragraph a day, just a paragraph of what you would like to say should you be given the opportunity to speak at a group. Now, I'm not looking for War and Peace or even a Reader's Digest short story. Nothing major, nothing more than a few lines every day about a topic that she feels would benefit others. And when she finishes writing her paragraphs, she should send it to a trusted friend to keep her accountable to keep writing every day. I suggested just a paragraph on a small notepad so she's not overwhelmed. And I said I would check back with her in a few weeks. Well, now I feel like Paul Harvey, and here's the rest of the story. I wish I had good news. I don't. You see, she's chosen to talk about all the reasons why it still won't work, and she will, like my theme today, dwell on it for the rest of her life. That's death. I could not convince her to let it go and move on. That would be life. The life she tells me she wants for herself and her family. When I think about the simple homework I gave her, I'm reminded of a wonderful local TEDx speaker that we had in my hometown a while back. He writes what he calls mini sagas, stories he writes every day. They are exactly 50 words, no more, no less. He will tell you that the design and planning it takes to produce a mini saga has made him more efficient, observant, and more disciplined in his everyday life. He was excellent. And his concept is intriguing to me, not only as a discipline, but also as a creative outlet within a strict guideline that undoubtedly leads to success in other areas of life. For those of you that want to speak, you might want to consider writing a mini saga of only 50 words and see how well you do. Within time, I'm sure you'll improve your skill in word choice, word color, creative verbal design. And I believe it would be a great step in the right direction to get your creative juices flowing for your success. My quote today is, friends, you can dwell on it for the rest of your life. That's death. Or you can let it go and move on. That's life. And that is very real for many of you listening today. You've spent a lifetime talking about your dreams. So what would it take for you to get going on them, to live the life you've imagined? Let me encourage you to let go of the past. I know I've said it before, but friend, if you don't make peace with your past, it will keep showing up in your present. Let the past hurts, past failures, past falling downs go. Move on. You can't change it now. If you've done your part and asked forgiveness, and even if they didn't forgive you or even give you a chance to accept your request for healing, it's okay. It's over. It's done. For some it's forgotten. For others, it really didn't mean much to them anyway. So stop cheating on your future with your past. Hear me. It is over. It's time to let go. It's time to move on. Why? Because that's life. The life that you deserve. Now, dear listener, breathe. Clear your mind, soul, body, heart, spirit, and move in the direction of your dreams. And here's my promise. I will be with you every week. You can listen to all these podcasts because what I want is for you to dwell on the positive for the rest of your life as you are creating the life you always hoped and imagined you would have. All right, I got to tell you, if I have one call like that, I get 500. And I know I sound a little snarky when I'm just kind of belly aching about how they just won't do the work. And what's so interesting is they think someone else will do it for them. And it's so hard to say, listen, it's hard enough for us speakers. We're not going to actually stop and do that for you. You've got to do the work to find the group you want. All right, that's kind of Deb's bellyache for today. All right, you've been listening, believe it or not, to Deb Sofield's encouragement for your life. Why? Because I want you to have an amazing life. I want you to stop dwelling on your past because it is hurting the present and the future. And here's my promise. I don't care what the world says about you. I want you to know I care about you. And I care about you because I believe you are losing time dwelling on something you can't change or fix. When? If you would just change your mindset. Friend, you can do big things. And I will walk alongside you as we follow your dream together. All right, thanks for joining me today. You've been listening to Deb Sofield's Encouragement for Your Life. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to connecting with you next week. Take care, everybody.